3, 2, 1, let's go. This video is on sales funnel optimization for B2B service and B2B SaaS companies. Also talking about unit economics and financial modeling. Now, first, if you think that this is the proper way to have your sales funnel, you are wrong, okay? This is very hurtful actually to most companies that see their sales funnel like this. Now, before I go into everything, who am I? My name is Aleksandar Velev. I run GTM Revenue, also building a SaaS company at the moment, which is still in stealth mode. I've generated over 60 million in sales pipeline entirely from cold traffic, and my clients have closed over 10 million in revenue entirely from cold traffic. If you want to learn how to optimize the cold traffic part of your company, go to the previous video. This one is on sales funnel optimization. So yeah, this is wrong. Now, how does it actually look? Well, it looks something like this. So obviously, let me actually switch to black instead of red. Obviously, on top, we have the TAM, which a lot of people do not actually know how to properly calculate a TAM. And if you're in B2B, I think you should just go to a tool like AI Arc or Prospue or Zoom in for one of these tools, and you should actually see what your TAM is. Then we have the process of generating awareness, interest, evaluation, negotiation, purchase. Pretty typical. Usually there's a lot of stages in the middle here. But if you're just seeing your company based on these things here, then you're not going to make it, right? Because this is where you actually make the money, right? So on top, you pour all of the possible people. You can only get a certain percentage of them to pay attention to you. And then the smallest percentage of them are going to become clients. Now, in the previous video, I talked about how to actually make this wider so you can convert more people. Okay, so more people can become clients. How to optimize each step of the funnel. Now, below the funnel, you have the real funnel. As soon as you convert one person into a client, that is one opportunity that you need to turn into more referrals or that person to renew and keep paying your company. So there's a whole process about lowering churn, increasing renewal, upsells, cross-sells, add-ons. You most likely know what upsells are, right? But we're going to be talking about how to make your product more sticky, how to build an ecosystem around your company, and how to structure this whole sales funnel so that you can basically know what types of offers to make, because this video is mainly about offers, how to make the right offers so that you can basically be making a lot more money from this. And I give quite a few examples. So the first couple of things that you need to understand is that a lot of the biggest companies on the market have an ecosystem. One example is HubSpot, another example is Salesforce. A lot of the biggest companies, they have an entire ecosystem. And what an ecosystem is a system that maintains itself and actually grows because of all of the different parts within that system, all of the different animals, all of the different plants. But in a business scenario, it basically means that software providers, agencies, consultants, all of these companies together boost the growth of that one company that has built the ecosystem. Okay, I'm going to give you some examples. Then the second most important thing is a front-end optimized offer. So the more people you can convert here to become initial customers, the more opportunity you have to convert those people into higher paying clients. There is nothing easier than selling something to a person who just bought it, okay? If somebody is already a buyer, they're going to keep buying as long as you deliver good services and you follow the basic principles, right? So how do you optimize your offer, especially when you're selling to cold traffic, which is the majority of the market anyways, by the way. The majority of your market does not know who you are and does not trust you. Okay, so you need to optimize your offer. We're going to be talking about this with some examples. And then we have product or service stickiness. So you're not going to be upselling people. You're not going to be building an ecosystem if you have a one-time purchase product. If a person can solve their entire issue or their entire problem that you're trying to solve for them by purchasing once from you, and it's not a recurring issue that you're solving, or that it is not really an important issue as well, then you obviously do not have stickiness. So let me actually give you two really good examples of SaaS companies. So the first SaaS company is HubSpot, one of the biggest SaaS companies. So let's go over their pricing. Now, if you go to the website of HubSpot, look at this, the link here. If you go to HubSpot's website, let's try to go to the normal website. They clicked on an SEO link. Basically, they have multiple pricing tiers. They started off with a free tier, which captures all of the new companies, so all of the people that want to experiment with the software. As you can see, it's $0 a month. However, as soon as you want to, do you see this is marketing contacts? As soon as you want to actually do something in HubSpot, like send some marketing campaigns to people, you get charged with this. So you can store a very high number, I think it's like 1 million contacts. But for you to actually reach out to them via marketing campaigns, you need one of these tiers. So if you want 2,000 contacts, which is not a lot, by the way, then you need to pay $800 a month. So basically, 1,000 contacts, $9 a month, 2,000 contacts, $800 a month. Now, a lot of the other tiers, or it really depends on exactly what you're trying to do. They also have setup fees, okay? So this is important to understand as well. They have setup fees, they have monthly, and they have a lot of add-ons. So as soon as you get started with HubSpot, right, they acquire you as a customer. They acquire you very easily, by the way. Like the funnel has a really high conversion rate. They get a lot of people here to start off. Then they have crazy add-ons. They have a whole ecosystem of people that can help you build implementations, or people that just promote the product so much. You have, I think it was, they have over 7,000 solutions partners, but over 50,000 agencies that unofficially build different types of HubSpot solutions, or HubSpot consultants are also in this category. So they get you so easily. But then if you really want to expand and do anything in that platform, the add-ons and just the expansion revenue so much, right? This is HubSpot. It can get a lot of customers, and then they just milk all of the money out of them. Then we have Clay. So great ecosystem, by the way. This is the ecosystem. All of the people that are promoting HubSpot, but they're not HubSpot themselves, right? So other people, businesses literally depend on making sure that people succeed with HubSpot, right? So if other companies are making sure people succeed with HubSpot, those people that they help succeed with HubSpot, they're going to keep paying HubSpot. So there's these three parties that are all working together to grow HubSpot. That's the ecosystem. Okay. Then we have Clay.com. It's one of the most recent explosive growth softwares out there. It's one of my favorites as well. So they start off with a free tier. Let's go to their pricing. They start off with a free tier. They give you, I think, 2,000 or 4,000 free credits. But then if you really want to do anything like connect Clay to your CRM, which is one of the best things you can do with Clay, to get some really good data in your CRM, you actually need to pay $800. Or if you want to use your own APIs, you need to pay $350, right? Also, 2,000 credits is very little for Clay specifically. So their pricing, again, they get you in that, they give you some free credits for you to play around. There is not a ton of great alternatives for Clay. I think it's one of the best out there. But then if you want to do anything at all, it's complicated, then, or that's really valuable for your company, like using APIs or a CRM integration, you need to pay $800 a month. Now, they also have an ecosystem. The main reason they're worth multiple billions of dollars is because of all of the agencies, and they also made up this new job title that is called GTM engineer. And now companies, hundreds of, maybe even thousands of companies have GTM engineers, which is a completely new job title invented in 2025, by the way. Now, thousands of companies are hiring for that job title specifically, and those people primarily build inside of Clay, along with some other tools. So not only do they have this, they have a ton of agencies that they're pretty much just building stuff on top of Clay for people, because it's a complex tool to use. They also have 125 official agencies and tens of thousands that are non-official, right? And the stickiness, what is the product stickiness? I did show this picture here, right? So it's very hard to get out of it. If you start using HubSpot, then it's really hard for you to get out of HubSpot. The longer you use HubSpot, the more mess you have all over your hands. You cannot clean it. You have so much data in there that even if a better tool comes on the market, it's going to cost you so much to migrate and change all of your processes that it, for the majority of cases, is just not going to make sense. Right? Same with Clay. Right? If you were building a product or if you're building your service, because you can always change your service, you can always change your product, and you should, by the way, you should always be changing it, and you should be thinking, how do you make it more sticky? And to calculate that, you basically want to be thinking about, if I turn off my product today, are people going to hunt me down? Okay, are they going to be extremely angry at me? Right? Are they going to show up at my front door, like, turn on my product? If you turn off HubSpot for a lot of companies, they are going to suffer. Right? If you turn off Clay, same thing as well. So people are going to keep paying for that. Now, let me give you an example for a service business. So this is an agency. Let's say that this agency is selling lead generation, but they only have one offer, their one pricing structure, and it's more of a productized service. Okay, so their revenue per one client, let's say that it is $3,500 per month, and that this agency specifically can get 4 clients per month, and the retention is 6 months. So basically 3.5K times 4 clients per month times 6 months equals to $84,000 in lifetime value that is generated each and every month. Lifetime value basically means how much do you make on average throughout the whole time that an average person or an average company is working with your company. Now, if they have an 8% conversion rate, they need 50 calls a month so that they can close those 4 people and they can generate that 84,000 lifetime value. Now, the cost in terms of time and money, let's say they're spending 2.5K on go-to-market tools. They're spending 500 on their CRM and some other tools. They have 2 SDRs that handle the booking of these meetings, and they're paying 2.5K for each, so 5K in total. Then they have some executive management. Let's say it takes 5 hours to manage everything. And if the manager's rate is $200 an hour, then that's 1K. Then we have 1 account executive or closer for 4K. So the total cost is 13K. Now, if we calculate the lifetime value to customer acquisition cost ratio, then we get a 6.5 to 1. So generally, what's considered a good ratio is 3 to 1. So 3 to 1 is considered very good or not good. I think definitely higher than 3.1. It really depends. I think a service business can have a way higher LTV to CAC ratio, because a lot of the time you're not calculating all of the time that you spent into service delivery, into acquiring the customer as well. It's a lot more custom what you do, and it takes a lot more time. So the LTV to CAC for SaaS companies is quite a bit lower. Now, what you really need to understand, and I'm going to make another video on this, is the payback period. You need to have self-liquidating offers to really be able to scale anything quickly. But that's for the next video. Now, in this video, I wanted to give this comparison. Okay, the first agency has only 1 offer. Now, what happens if you optimize your funnel? If you understand that the funnel looks like this. Okay, now some people in your total addressable market are going to buy at 1 price. Like I think 5% or 10% are going to buy the really high ticket stuff. The middle is going to buy the middle price. And then you have the lower part who, if it's even the bottom 40, 50%. Depends on how you exactly create your ICP. Because in your ICP, you should be filtering out all of the people that do not necessarily have the budget for your solution as well. All right, so let's see this. How does an optimized funnel look like for a lead generation agency? So the main offer is the same, recurring 3.5K. However, instead of 4 clients, they get 3 clients, because one of the other ones was either a low ticket one or a higher ticket one that converted into this main offer. Then they upsell 10% of these main offer people into the higher ticket one, which is $8,000 a month. So organically, or I think organically is not the right word to say it, but from their sales process initially, each month they convert one person. And then out of those people in the main offer, 10% of those eventually move on to the higher ticket. Okay. So if 10% move on and there's 3 clients on average, that's 13.5K in LTV if we get 3 clients a month. I made the calculations. You can check it if you want to. I'm trying to go quicker through the video. Then we have main offer, 3.5K, higher ticket, 8K, 1 client per month. Then we have the lower ticket one, which is 1,500 a month, and we get 2 clients for that. So now in total, we have 6 clients instead of 4. And our conversion rate is 12% with the same number of calls. So again, if we get 50 calls, but we convert 2 more people, the close rate goes from 8 to 12%. If we upsell the people in the lower ticket one, eventually, as they start making more money and they trust the company a little bit more, if we upsell them into the main offer, which is $2,000 more expensive, then we're making 4K LTV added per month on average, if we convert 10% of them. Now, this is based on a retention of 10 months. Now, when you're an agency or when you're a software, you need to be very sticky, okay? If you just solve an issue that's not that important, or you solve it in a way that you haven't really thought of all of the ways you could possibly retain your clients for longer, then you will not retain your clients for longer, right? So if you're an agency, for example, instead of giving them leads that they can call and convert into calls, maybe you can already book those leads. Instead of giving them leads that just said yes to an email or a LinkedIn message, you can actually schedule them in and also build all of the workflow so that they show up to the call. You can build all of the education materials for that company. You can build a knowledge base that has all of the top of the funnel data. So data from their CRM, all of their call recordings, all of the go-to-market campaigns. And then you can give them access to that via AI. So this is something that I already do in my company. And it just helps just internally as well. We've been experimenting with giving it to clients, but initially we just had it for ourselves so that we can better build campaigns in the future. So all of the go-to-market data goes into quote code, basically. And then we have that AI quote, reading that data, helping us create new campaigns, new angles. But I think this can also be used for the content of the company as well. If they want to make a YouTube video, for example, then they can look at the call transcripts and they can know the exact issues that their clients are usually facing. So you can help them with their positioning, with their messaging, across the entire funnel. If you're a lead gen agency, this is specifically for it. The main goal is to optimize for a higher retention and also to have multiple offers. Right? This is simplistically how it looks. It's oversimplified here. But these are the things that you actually need to focus on. Okay, so let's calculate our revenue. Our revenue the first month or each month, let's say if this is consistent, is 21.5K. So we have the 10.5K from here, we have 8K from here, and then we have 3K from here, coming to 21K. Then we have lifetime value. So that's not the revenue the first month, it is how much on average you make from one person through their entire time of being with you. For the main offer, it's 105K. So the offer is 3.5K times 3 people a month that we get, times 10. So we retain them for 10 months. That's 105,000. Then the lifetime value for the higher ticket is 10 months times $8,000. We have $80,000. And then the lifetime value of the lower ticket one is $30,000. Okay. So then we have the lifetime value of the people that we upsell. So that's 13.5K. And then the lifetime value of the ones that we upsell from the lower ticket one to the main offer. So that's an additional 4K. Now, if we combine all of these here, including this one, then we get to 232,000 in lifetime value. Now, let's say that our costs, I think our costs here were 13,000. Let's say that we have some additional costs here to run a more complex system. And let's say that we pay our employees a little bit more and our total cost is 15,000 per month. Then the lifetime to CAC, which is the customer acquisition cost, is 15 to 1, which is a 2.3x increase from the previous one. So we are actually spending a little bit more money, and the close rate is only different by 4%, right? It's not a huge difference. We're getting the same number of calls, 50 calls here, 12% close rate, 50 calls here, 8% close rate. It's not a huge difference, right? But we're also getting less people on the main offer. However, we're getting one more person on the higher ticket offer, because in your market, there's always people that are willing to pay more money. And then we're also getting those lower ticket people. And ideally, we should be upselling a lot more than 10% into the main offer. Or even some of them, we're going to be upselling them into the higher ticket. Okay. And even if you want to go a step further, instead of having these upsells, maybe you have some cross sells. So instead of just having lead generation, maybe you also have a offer where you do sales coaching to the team, or you do cold calling, or you do some other adjacent services, so that the companies that are already getting some great results from the main offer, then they can not only be upsold to the higher ticket one, but they can also be cross-sold to some other offers that you have. And when you have multiple offers for a company, it's a lot harder for them to churn and to go away and start doing something else. Basically, the more offers you have and the more value you bring to a company, the higher the retention is going to be. Okay. So it's more difficult basically for them to go away and stop paying you. If they stop paying you, they're going to lose out on so much value. Right. So they're going to do everything that it takes to prioritize paying. So they need to cut expenses, for example. You're not going to be the one that gets laid off. Right. So retention is one of the most important things. It is primarily driven by the value that your offers bring to your clients. You need to structure your deals so that, I think, even if you do not necessarily profit on the front end, like look, we have a monthly cost of $15,000. And our revenue of month one is $21,000. I would be okay with spending $21,000 in expenses here to get $21,000 in revenue, but get a way higher LTV. So if there was a way for me to spend an additional $6,000, even if I don't make any more revenue the first month, but let's say I made $300,000 in lifetime value, then I would prefer that, to be honest. All right. This is called a self-liquidating offer, when basically your costs and your revenue within the first month is roughly the same. So you can keep basically rolling the ball, using that money, converting it into more money in the long run. So you need to structure your deals through this. Okay. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is the net revenue retention. This metric is specifically for SaaS companies, but I think it could be used for any other sort of company as well, especially if it's B2B. I think for e-commerce, it's a little bit difficult to implement it, but if you're in B2B, you can definitely use it. So basically, net revenue retention. It is your starting MRR, let's say $300,000 a month, plus your expansion. And if you remember, the expansion is this here. So we have the upsell, the cross sells, the add-ons. So how much more money are you making for each client that you already had? This is not new clients, right? And you have the contraction. So expansion plus expansion minus the contraction. The contraction is some people actually downgrade. Instead of paying you $3,000 a month, they want to pay $1,000 a month because they want to use less features, or they simply need to cut costs, right? And then you have minus the churn. So the churn is basically the amount of revenue that you lost this month because of people going away, not paying you anymore, right? So if you have no churn, no contraction, and no expansion, basically it's going to be the same number over the same number times 100, so it's going to be 100, right? Now, the number that you want to aim for is over 100, which basically means that even without acquiring any new customers, your company is getting more revenue, right? I think if it's over 120, then that is just amazing. And I think there's very few companies that actually have over 120. So you need to think, how do I decrease contraction? How do I decrease churn? How do I increase expansion? And the NRR, even if you're trying to sell your company or if you're trying to get a higher evaluation, the net revenue retention is one of the most important metrics that investors look at to basically figure out the company is worth investing in and it works actually well. So if your NRR is over 120, for example, you're going to get a way better revenue multiple. Okay, so this is this video. The next one goes into a lot more detail into the sales funnel, into unit economics, into generating sales pipeline. I'm making a whole series. So make sure you watch the previous one or the next one if you haven't watched them. And see you soon.